Hello. This is Antya from Byte Shuffle. Thank you for always watching my videos. The highlight of this episode is the moment when you seize your opponent's brief lapse and deliver a strike that changes fate. This time, we have a special edition for the sideboard explanation segment. Please take a look. Here is the deck list we will be using this time. The link to the deck list explanation video is in the description below. Please take a look if you're interested. I'll keep this hand as it allows for an all-in play after checking the situation with a turn 1 hand disruption. I'm going all-in right away. I'll increase the mana necessary for the combo. Now that I have more mana, I'll check what's ahead. Since there's a cloud of fairies in the opponent's hand, it's likely they are playing High Tide. I'll increase the mana necessary for the combo. It's time to stop ad nauseam, but in the case of Infernal Tutor, if you have built up enough storm count, reaching 6 mana can secure the victory. In the case of Beseech the Mirror, if you have built up enough storm count and reach 4 mana with at least one permanent on the board, you can secure the victory. The reveal from ad nauseam is not favorable, so I'll pass the turn. I am casting Brainstorm here to achieve Hellbent, but it would have been better to simply proceed with Dark Ritual Cabal Ritual Veil of Summer Beseech the Mirror. I will combo off by using Jia's Will to utilize the graveyard. I'll accelerate mana while also accumulating storm count. Having accumulated enough storm count, I'll cast Tendrils of Agony. Before sideboarding, I'd like to review the list I used. First, let's start with the conclusion. I'll explain everything step by step. Here is the sideboard that I actually used. While researching for the video, I discovered a better sideboard option. I recommend everyone use this one. The cards in High Tide that are relevant to ad nauseam tendrils are as follows. First, there are counterspells such as Force of Will, Force of Negation, Spell Pierce, Flusterstorm, Irresistible Offer, and Pact of Negation. In response to these, I will include Flusterstorm in the deck. Before we move on to the next explanation, let's briefly review how High Tide functions. You start by laying out a sufficient number of islands, then cast High Tide. You then increase your mana and storm count with spells like Time Spiral and Turnabout. Once you've accumulated enough mana and storm, cast Mind's Desire. By looping Mind's Desire and Time Spiral, you can amass sufficient mana and storm count. Then, you can secure the win with cards like Jace, Wielder of Mysteries or Brain Freeze. When looping with Time Spiral, you recycle the graveyard to use it repeatedly. I believe Tormod's Crypt is effective there, so I personally side it in. However, since I think the matchup against ANT is more favorable, it might be better to not include Tormod's Crypt and instead bring back 2 Chrome Moxes. I'm uncertain about this decision, so if you have any opinions, I would appreciate it if you could share them in the comments section along with your reasons. Since there might be Grafdigger's Cage in play, it could be wise to keep some copies of Boseiju, Who Endures. If your deck list does not include Boseiju, Who Endures, I think there is no need to specifically add countermeasures. Since the opponent does not employ a mana denial strategy, the value of basic lands decreases. Since the opponent is playing a deck that features many islands, I side in Carpet of Flowers. Since there's a high chance of getting caught up in the opponent's graveyard hate cards, I will reduce the number of such cards in my deck. It's not perfect, but with one more land and a tutor, it's a good hand. There's a possibility of losing if I can't draw a tutor, but the rest of the hand isn't bad, so I'll keep it. It seems like the game will come down to whether I can draw one of the 5 tutors in my deck. The opponent draws without shuffling after using Ponder. Here, I've topped Tendrils of Agony. I will wait for a fortunate moment when the opponent taps out. Since they likely have about 4 copies of Force of Will and 3 copies of Force of Negation, I assume they have more than one set. On my end, I just need one more spell to be sufficient. I'm in a good position if I can draw any of the 30 cards in my deck that are either draw sources, tutors, or mana accelerators. Force of Will is strong when used proactively, but when used passively in response to the opponent's actions, It can also be taxing for them. High Tide is a deck that, even when the combo is initiated, often malfunctions and stalls. Especially, using High Tide as fodder for Force of Will is likely to be a reluctant choice. As turns pass, it becomes less about timing for us, so while it's not perfect, I'll go all in from here. I will increase the mana needed for the combo. I will play Veil of Summer in response to the opponent's counters. I'll accelerate mana while also accumulating storm count. Thank you for watching up to this point. I apologize for the frequent play mistakes. I hope to improve at MTG together with everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving it a thumbs up. See you in the next one. This has been Antya.